This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, September 20th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
From somewhere in Canada, I'm Gavin Campbell.
Gavin's still traveling around, but we're here. We're going to talk about home tech stuff, home automation, home technology. I kind of miss Gavin. Gavin GPT's, it's nice, but
just not the same,
Yeah.
We really should get him out of the basement. I think we've locked him in there for way too long, and he probably needs to come out and get some sunlight or something. So we should probably go ahead and just do that, Seth. I mean, what are we waiting for anyway? What do we even put him down there for?
I mean, I think it was a Matter lock thing that we were waiting on. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got something about Yale locks here he wants to talk about, so maybe that's it.
The update broke. That makes sense.
Yeah. He's waiting for an update. I'm sure it's a Home Assistant update that he was waiting on, so. Oh, well, Gavin should be back next week, but we have a pretty good show tonight. We have an interview with Owen Maddock, and we should ask how to say Tom's last name when we had him on. I'm gonna butcher it, though, but it's Tom Dellicompagni, I think, of the Home Cinema Design Podcast. Great conversation about really quite a bit around, designing, what goes into design and spec a theater, the thoughts and considerations that go on. And we talked a lot about the newish, I guess, at this point, RP22 design document. I actually read it. I did some homework. I opened up a PDF and read the whole thing. It's not a bad read, TJ. You should really give it a shot.
Okay, I don't want to be rude, Seth, but you read the whole thing. It's 157 pages.
It's not, but you can skip a lot of it's definitions. All right,
and pictures. Really? There's a lot of pictures in there too.
But those are the interesting ones. You want to read those?
Don't want to skip those.
Skip the words. Just look at the pictures. No, I mean, I think if you looked into it, it's 157 pages. There's a lot of sections. So there's 8 sections, right? And they just make those these big, giant, full on, it's a whole cover page, right? So you can skip those pages. Those don't count, right? And then there's appendixes. You can't count the appendixes.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the research junk.
Count.
So you can take that away. And I think what you're left with is maybe around 100 pages-ish, maybe less. And it's not a bad read. Like I said, you can skip quite a bit of it, especially if you have a background in audio and know what some of the terms mean. But they do a pretty good job of going over stuff in there. So it's a good read. They also talked about some other documentation that's coming kind of in the same vein as RP22, which is pretty exciting. So it was a good conversation. I had a lot of fun talking to those guys. And if you're not already listening to the Home Cinema Design Podcast, you should be, because there's a lot of really good information that is in that podcast, especially if you are interested in home cinema design. I think that's their forte.
Yeah, they really break it down to where it's I don't know, it's easier to understand. Because unless you're a huge nerd about some of this stuff, it is kind of hard to digest some of this. But some of the designs that get laid out, and I skimmed the RP22, and it was pretty informative for designs and stuff, and just getting the basics down at least. So I'm not going to be on Owen's level anytime soon, but it's nice that there's actual guidelines in here, because kind of like what you and I talked about, Seth, during the episode. We kind of just a lot of times just put speakers and projectors and screens in, and there was no really rhyme or reason why you put it in a certain spot. You kind of use general ideas and what sounded best to you and stuff, but there was never really a much thought into it, at least for the majority of companies I've seen around. It's kind of just oh, we want a nicer spot to watch TV, and then we can put speakers in the ceiling. But no, there's actual things you have to follow.
They'll fit between those trusses right there well enough.
Yeah, and it's just where and I just did one where it was not a good layout for anything, but that's what the client wanted, unfortunately. But just like anything else in the world, there's good standards and there's ways that you're actually supposed to do things. And it's nice that this exists for for home theaters now.
Yeah, it's a great baseline. And I think we talked about, this document is designed for home theater installers, but it's also designed for specifiers, architects, and that kind of thing, where they can read through it, understand what they're looking at, and come away with it with a basic understanding of what kind of room and performance they're going to get for, they break it down to these 4 levels. It's kind of the famous thing that's been going around, these 4 levels, 1, 2, 3, 4. And where 4 being is completely uncompromised, you get everything. And 1 is this is going to be a great system, but it's, compromised in X, Y, and Z. They have minimum specifications for each one of those. So I thought it's a good document, a great conversation with two really fun people, and hopefully we get to talk to them some more because I had a great time. Most of the show this week is going to be that interview, but we do have a couple of HomeTech headlines. So what do you say we jump into those?
Let's do it.
All right, this Sonos Arc Ultra and Sub 4 have leaked out, and guess where do they leak to? Where do they leak out to? Where can you always find the leaks? It's always The Verge. They say Sonos is gearing up to release its next flagship soundbar, the Arc Ultra. It's a new high-end subwoofer, the Sub 4. Leaked images confirm the Arc Ultra will support Bluetooth audio playback and feature sound motion technology from Sonos's acquisition of Might. I still don't know how to pronounce that.
Mighty?
Word.
I don't know.
Mighty? I don't know. In 2022. This tech promises big sound from smaller components. The Arc Ultra will be priced somewhere between $1,000 and maybe $1,200 and showcase redesigned physical controls. Sub 4, following its predecessor's design with a matte finish, will launch alongside the Arc Ultra, and both products should be available in black or white. Not bad. Not bad, I guess. I don't know. I was talking to my wife earlier and I was like, oh, we should get a Sonos for the garage, you can have some music out here. She's like, no more Sonos. The app sucks. I'm like, oh man, brutal.
That's how you know you messed up, and you just made the average consumer mad, not even the tech people that pay attention to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Sonos Sub 4, I really don't understand. I mean, it's just kind of whatever. But the Arc Ultra, I think is interesting. Personally, the Arc itself is not that great of a soundbar. I think it's all right, but for like the $900 it already is, I don't think it's worth $900. So if this one comes in a little bit more and it's actually really good, it's probably worth it. But if it comes in at like $1,400 or something crazy, I don't see the appeal of it. But maybe they're putting that new speaker technology to use, and maybe it'll sound a lot better. So, just a little not too happy with my Sonos Arc. I think the play bar sounded a lot better personally.
Ooh, I still got a play bar.
They're great.
I keep seeing play bars pop up on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want one of those.
Well, and they're so cheap. I mean, you can buy a play bar now for like $100 to $200, and as long as you don't care about AirPlay or HDMI, it's really good. So
maybe I should just buy the. People in Sarasota really think they have something special when it comes to Sonos gear. They do not discount. There's no discounts here.
Yeah.
Like, you can get better deals at Costco as far as I'm concerned. Like the prices they have on the newer Sonos gear is expensive, and the prices on like older S1 stuff is also very expensive for what it is.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, man, come off it, guys. Like,
yeah, there's not too often that a good Sonos deal pops up. You just kind of have to watch out for them.
I did see an amp yesterday, like the new amp, for I think right under $400.
Wow, that is a good deal.
That would have been a good deal. I don't know. I was like, oh, I should get that. And I'm like, well, then I'd have to buy some speakers, so I'm not going to do that.
I have some outdoor speakers, but I have an older Sonos amp, the Connect amp, and it's fine. The like 5 times a year I use it, but it would be nice to have AirPlay.
I guess I've never used the AirPlay with the Sonos stuff. There was some like back in the day, there was like a thing you could run, maybe on like a Raspberry Pi or, in a Docker or something like that would bring AirPlay into Sonos. And I used it, but there was a delay. I don't know if there's a delay anymore, but there was enough delay where I was like, I don't like this. And I never went back to AirPlay on anything.
Yeah.
Good for some people, not for anybody else. I don't see any more Sonos on here. There was one Sonos port for under $200. And I'm like, well, I don't need that either. So
I'll sell you my Sonos Ray. It's definitely the worst Sonos product I've ever owned.
You're really selling it, man.
It is not a good one.
Yeah. We're going to go pick up a Weem or one of those Vessel things. One of those
there
two.
You go.
Yeah.
Get a branded one from Don.
Ooh, yeah. HomeTech
branded. Got
some interesting news here from Bluetooth. I know you've never heard this before, but Bluetooth 6.0 has officially launched. It's going to bring some significant advancements to location trackers and smart locks. This new version of Bluetooth focuses on enhancing precision and security, and one standout features its improved location accuracy, which is now within a few centimeters, making it ideal for applications like indoor navigation and asset tracking. So very similar to what I think Apple has on their phones now, where you can, like, if you lose your phone, or a device that has Apple tracking in it. You can like walk around. Like I lose my phone all the time, and I can on my watch grab my watch and like push the button and find it, and it'll kind of tell me where it is and kind of show me like what direction to watch. And it's pretty nice.
Yeah, they use that for the Apple TV remote instead of having a speaker built into it, so you can't find the remote. They use that for that as well. It works all right, but I just wish the Apple TV remote had a speaker, to be honest. Just play a sound, little ditty. I don't know if I should be saying ditty out loud right now. I'm being arrested.
Whoops. Yeah, there's no indictment yet. It's got to come out soon. Here it is. They call it the Apple Ultra Wideband, I think is what they call it. So like if you have that, it's in most things these days that Apple produces, including the remote, which is nice. Nice little way to find it. It sounds like Bluetooth is going to have a solution for it as well. So yay, go Bluetooth. I'm sure next year everything will have Bluetooth, right?
Everything.
They say that every year and hasn't.
It's all wireless.
All right. More lock talk here. UTech has unveiled the Ultraloq with a Q Bolt Mission UWB plus NFC. Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for.
There you go. You could have just read the news article.
Just kept going. It would have been right here. It's the first smart lock to use ultra wideband technology for auto unlocking. This promises a faster, more reliable experience compared to current methods using BLE. This is Bluetooth. There's some shade towards Bluetooth, but you get Bluetooth 6 in there, you'd be good to go. Wi-Fi and GPS. The lock can also be unlocked with Wi-Fi, Matter, NFC, and supports Android NFC-enabled phones at launch with future support for Apple's Home Key. Includes a keypad for PIN access, traditional key option as well, powered by 8 AA batteries. Wow.
Holy cow.
And boasts a year of battery life. Well, it better for 8 batteries. I'm going to give up 8 batteries for this. The Mission Bolt will be available later this year. With another version supporting Apple's ultra wideband unlocking expected in 2025. So, it doesn't look terrible. It's not like those locks we had last week, those things we had last week, but it looks okay-ish.
Yeah, I'm going to say this is normal at least. I mean, because you typically have a keypad on a deadbolt anyway. Mm-hmm. And this looks like their other locks, so I don't think they're doing anything crazy here. Definitely a good improvement, though. Is it worth 8 AA batteries a year, though?
It's a year long?
I don't know. I think mine only takes 4, so... but I'm only using mine with Z-Wave. I'm not using mine with Apple HomeKit or anything like that, so... Or HomeKey.
HomeKey, yeah. It's their NFC opening and closing thing, which, I mean, it's nice. It works.
It's a nice compact lock, though. I think they're decent. I've installed a couple of these. They work fine. So I think it's a good improvement. And I'm liking the ability to buy a lock in whatever flavor you want. And typically the problem with smart locks is that they'll make whoever makes a smart lock and it works with Wi-Fi. Or they make a smart lock and it works with Zigbee or Z-Wave, but they don't make anything that just like works with everything or that you can get the same design and everything. And just because you can buy a lock in Z-Wave doesn't mean you can buy it in Wi-Fi in the same style or anything. And so I do like that a lot of these manufacturers are basically just coming out with the same lock in a different wireless protocol. And I think that's a smart idea because a lot of people like the looks, they just want a specific technology.
I always liked what Yale did with theirs, where they put the little module inside.
Yeah, just the chip.
That out. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted that just to be a thing in all technology, like just buy a light switch and just change out the chip or, whatever it is. I feel like that would add a lot of money to the cost, but
probably, yeah.
I think that'd be kind of nice just to, I'm changing my ecosystem. Let me just buy a new module for everything.
Usually those do have like some kind of detrimental, cost factor, like all the little parts and pieces and extra things you need to make sure like whatever pins they are line up. That's usually problematic, but I don't know, like it could be a solved problem here in 2024 and the lock companies are all being lazy. I don't know. It seems like they could probably do that and replace like that with, 4 AA batteries and I'd be okay. Like I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Give me the freedom to kind of like swap out a module to change over from Z-Wave to Zigbee like you can with Yale. And you can keep 4 of those batteries. Just a thought. I'm not a product designer. Don't listen to me. All right. See, Gavin goes away and all we're going to talk about is locks this week. So
just lock talk.
Locks and Sonos. UniFi Smart Lock E30 is UniFi's first Matter-compatible smart lock, priced at $169. Operates over Thread, enhancing responsive battery life and connectivity compared to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth locks. This lock can be controlled by the UniFi app and other Matter-compatible apps like Apple Home, Amazon Alexa, Google Home, and Samsung SmartThings. It featured multiple access methods, traditional key, fingerprint reader, and a keypad. And notably, it supports out-of-home control and home automation routines through voice assistants. Not bad for $169, and it doesn't look bad either. This actually looks pretty good. It wouldn't go on my front door, but it does look good.
Yeah, and this is actually Matter over Thread too, which is nice. I mean, that way you don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi issues and stuff that I've had a lot with Matter devices. Yeah, and it's not ugly. I think it actually does kind of look nice. I don't really know if I ever want a fingerprint sensor on my door lock. I just don't think I'm the use case for that part of it. But at least it's not like intrusive looking.
Yeah, I mean, I have one on the Aquara one that I have, and I use it every now and then. Mostly when I don't know. Mostly when I'm confused or I didn't bring my watch or something or my phone with me, and I'm like walked around the house and I need to get in. I'm like, I could put my code in, or I can just put my finger on this thing right here and it'll unlock. It's not what I first go to, like just putting my watch up against the door thing and it unlocks.
We were making fun of the last lock for the 8 batteries and 12 months battery life. Have you seen what this one is, Seth?
Oh, it's another 8 battery. Nice.
And for 8 months battery life. Up to 8 months, so even worse.
All right. AA batterydb.com. And it is open. Oh, I got it. All right. Nice.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we need to know, and we'll break it down by cost. We'll do the different Duracell batteries and stuff.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, like we could swap out. You can use the generic
Power Boost ones, or
no, I don't think I'll be getting this domain. But
24 batteries is $25.
They come down in price, like or in bulk. If you buy them in bulk, like at Costco or whatever, you can get.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, 8 batteries.
This costs you roughly $10 every 8 months.
Start saving your batteries up, guys, because these locks are coming out and they all want your batteries. So
I want to drain your battery.
I wonder, like, what the real use case. Like, I mean, the Aquara has like 4 batteries, and I can't tell you when I replaced them last, but I know that like it runs down every now and then. I probably should check it, because if it does go down, then I can't get in that door, because I'm not carrying a key like some kind of like monster,
like hillbilly.
Yeah, like a savage. Exactly. I'm not one of those people. But we'll see. I only need 4 batteries every so often.
I have already replaced my Yale batteries, and I've been here for a little more than a year. I think whenever we had the screaming video that I showed off, so they lasted less than a year as well. So I think it's pretty typical of smart locks.
Well, it says my door lock is. Oh no, it says it's unlocked. So, batteries are high. I don't remember the last time I replaced them, though.
Mine's at 91%. I got mine a couple months ago.
I bet there's firmware updates. Let's do this. All right, well, all the links and topics we talked about tonight can be found over in our show notes at HomeTech.fm/499. All right, let's jump into our interview here with Owen Maddock and Tom Dellicompagni. I hope I get the name right. I'm not sure. Sorry, Tom. We were just calling you Tom D.
I just said to just call him Tom, but Seth wanted to make it complicated for some reason. I was like, no, I don't. It's going to be all right. just link to the show. Link to their show.
Yeah. Great show. Great home. We'll also put a link in there for the Home Center Design Podcast. If you aren't listening, go out now, hit subscribe on this thing. Little icon will show up with like little measurement icon. I always see that, and it pops into my podcast feed. I'm like, oh yeah, another 25 minutes of talking about some really fun audio stuff is coming my way. So check it out. Let's go ahead and jump into the interview though. Welcome everybody. We've got Owen here and Tom from the Home Cinema Design Podcast. Welcome, guys.
Hiya. Thank you.
We've got a lot to talk about. Well, we were trying to figure out what we were going to talk about. We ended up talking about all of it, I think, before the show. Mm-hmm. And it was like, we should probably just hit record and start talking and start gabbing, because I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to like bounce ideas off each other and talk about fun topics, especially when it comes to home cinema design and what that kind of means in 2024 with all the new guidelines that are floating around out there. RP22 and very specifically. Oh, and I think you said that you had some time on that committee, right? Like you helped.
A little bit, like quite near the end, like in the last couple of years, because I think it took 5+ years to put together, and I kind of joined as it was mostly in shape, and then there was just a lot of wrangling over the details, and because it needs to be consensus reality, right? So there's a lot of debate, there's a lot of time in the room, and there's a lot of personalities. You know, it's not just the home integration community talking about this. We've got people from, you know, who were senior at Dolby. We've got senior content creators. We've got top level world-class calibrators in our group.
I mean, like you've got Dolby, I'm sure DTS, and then has a competing standard, I guess. And so you like reading through this and it's like Dolby recommends you have this at 30 degrees, but wait, DTS, it's 35. You know, it's like, okay, thanks guys. Like make my life hard.
But I mean, the thing is, angles is a little bit of an old-fashioned way of looking at it. You know, it's really about the zones that the speakers are in, because we're not designing for a single seat. We're designing for a load of you in the theatre, right?
A few people, yeah.
So that's one of the cooler things about modern design thinking generally, which probably started off, I'd say, with the Trinov guidelines a few years back. And they've kind of been...
Which are great. I love those. You shared those with me, and they've got all the math and everything in them. I mean, they're way, way geekier than the... All right, so if you want to approach this, start with RP22. It's a free document. You can go download it.
Yeah, because it's a kind of a way to... They've certainly taken some of that wisdom and kind of brand neutralized it and kind of folded it into more generic advice.
Yeah.
Which is great, because not all of us are selling Trinovs every day, right?
Right.
All right, to bring this back to the original conversation, what are we talking about? What is RP22, and why are we discussing it now?
And who the hell are we, right? So,
who the heck are these guys?
My name's Owen Maddock. I own CinemaWorks. I'm a home integration company in Bristol. I just do cinema rooms. I got bored of everything else. So 5 years ago, I rebranded and I stopped doing whole home, and I stopped doing kind of people's Wi-Fi networks, because I don't want the call every time Virgin Media or Verizon or whoever crap out. And that's gone much better, actually. I think it's like if you're a builder doing, I don't know, loft conversions, and you write, I do loft conversions on the side of your van. You get much better at doing lofts, right? And people kind of
all
know
the calls you
that.
get. Yeah.
Yeah, and that seems to, I think niching and specializing is good. And he's Tom.
I am. Hello. So I am a home cinema guy. I've got a joinery background and a big old workshop, and we build and design mostly cinemas for a living these days.
Yeah,
very nice.
And I've fallen very, very deep into the engineering side of home cinemas and audio.
Nice.
Yeah, and actually we were both part of RP22, but during the end bit. I came along 2022. Yeah. Tom came along probably at the end of that year. And Tom sits on more working groups than I do. I'm doing other volunteer stuff for the moment. I sort of think of us as we're the kind of the provisional wing of CEDIA, right? You know, we're not the voice of CEDIA. Sometimes people come up to me and gone, CEDIA did this, did that, explain yourself. And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't do it. I'm just a volunteer member, right? So we can kind of throw bombs in. Yeah. We're just volunteering. We're just doing our bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that means we can speak a bit more freely as well.
And so to kind of also, exactly. And also answer TJ's good question there about what the heck is RP22? This is and I'll just read off the title page here, Immersive Audio Design Recommended Practice Documentation. It is basically, how long has immersive audio been around in the way like Dolby Atmos, DTS?
Atmos came out in the commercial theater in 2012, I believe it was.
2012, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that long ago.
I think what happened is kind of what does happen, which is the existing supply chains are kind of already in place. So, right, audio from above. Oh, that's cool. We've got ceiling speakers, guys. And we just started putting ceiling speakers into the same sort of cinema designs that we had. But that's a problem in itself.
Right.
Because the sound's kind of pointing in the wrong direction, and the good sounding bit of the speaker isn't getting to enough ears. You know, you're kind of getting the really off-axis compromised sound. And I sort of feel like modern home cinema design, and especially in my bit, in the kind of middle market, is broken. Because you've got kind of lots of existing brand loyalties. You've got the kind of buying group scenario, or it's like, well, I buy it from him because he's my friend, or I buy it from him because I've always bought it from him. And you've got a kind of brand-led religion and not enough sort of engineering design. And then we got into this whole RP22 business, started applying it first in our own rooms and then in customer ones. And then just our world's got a lot better. And so we've now started a podcast to talk about it.
So that's what the home cinema design podcast. You're focused on all the learnings that you've come from, you know, having your background in cinema design, and then also working with the RP22 group to publish that document.
It's just Owen and I talking about our journey to where we're at today. It literally from guys throwing speakers in a room to guys who are engineering rooms, I think's probably the right way to put it, Owen.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I spend a lot of my life kind of taking what I understand from maths and physics and engineering and kind of just trying to boil it down into slightly more common sense, folksy ways of saying it. But that's 'cause I'm trying to bring everyone with me. You know, I'm trying to get people to point their speakers at the audience, and I'm trying to get people to not put seats on their sidewalls where it sounds terrible, and I'm trying to get people to maybe move the subwoofers around.
The back row. Get rid of the back row. You can't sit there.
Well, yeah, exactly. Or you can call them Super Bowl seats and have them twice a year.
Yeah,
but don't pretend you're having an immersive experience when you're right up against the back wall, because you're not. And if you're the integrator, you've been paid, you're at home, right? Sounds fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
But for that client, that's not a good experience on what they've bought. Like about a year or so ago, we were on Adam Justice's podcast, yeah, and he was having a theatre. And I think one of the first things we did was look at the room and say, you can't have 3 rows in here. Have 2. And maybe just put a little bar at the back for the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Because it's more consistent, it's better, no one's up against that wall, and you spent quite a lot less on seats. You just made a better room.
Well, and it's good compromise too, because you're not going to use those seats all the time, right? I mean, unless you have parties all the time or whatever, you're going to use those, just like you said, Super Bowl or whatever games they are, twice a year. And so you really don't need to emphasize that third row, especially in those situations.
Yeah, it's so common. I mean, if you, because it's a bad client question. How many seats do you want? Because they're going to go, how many seats can I fit? If you say, how many of you are in the family? Cool. Describe movie night to me. Right, wicked. And then tell me honestly how many times you're going to pile everyone down into your basement to watch something. Is it just on Thanksgiving? Is it just for the Super Bowl? Well, then we should design differently, because we'll get a much better result for the 4 people that live there. And your guests will be all right. They've had a drink. They're fine.
Yeah, I'm kind of flashing back to I was looking at the dates when you said it didn't come out until 2012. I think it said electronic devices, consumer electronic devices in 2016, somewhere thereabouts. Mm-hmm. I remember back when I was not first starting, but like when we were doing the cinema theaters, we were using Yamaha amplifiers, and they were just getting to the point where they were putting like the elevated speaker channels that you could put in on some of their higher end receivers or processors or whatever. So like that. I think, those types of things, kind of like those ideas float around a little bit, and then somebody like Dolby will come out and be like, well, here's the standard way of doing it. And the processor maths to back it up. See, I use maths. I can speak your language. Mm-hmm. What I think the RP22 does is give us integrators, give designers a better way. It's like a start here document. Like you start here and learn what's important, because I think what's missed a lot of times, we talked about seats, we talked about speakers and that kind of thing, but like what's really missed is like the room, right? The room is like the foundation of what you're doing. And RP22 does a pretty good job of highlighting like, hey, there's a lot of things that you can change, speakers and seating positions and all that stuff, but you really can't change the room most of the time. Most of the time you're stuck in a little box, and you get that box and you got to make the best decisions you can out of it. And here, based on like experience. Also, they highlight a couple of other papers, like best practice papers or specification papers. Mm-hmm. Here are those, and then like as we line those up, we'll give you 4 simple levels to market that at. I think it really does help. I know there's some controversy about that in the industry about mm-hmm. like the level 1, 2, 3, or 4, because like everybody will be like, I got a level 3, and it's not a level 3. Nobody checked the math, right? And so like it really does help, I think, give someone a goal. Like here's the goal. We're trying to get to level 2, and then we're going to make decisions based on that. Now, if we get there, yay. But if you don't, you got a really good level 1 system.
Yeah. And also, I mean, again, I don't know the American market as well, but I do sort of certainly see a lot of stuff, especially pictures on social media. There is definitely rooms in both countries where you can just take a look and someone's proud of their job and they've gone, this is brilliant. And you just look at it and go, yeah, that's not level 1, because it can't be.
Some of it looks fantastic. I mean, it's got like Spider-Man in there, and there's like 16 like 6-foot figures, wax figures. I don't know what they are, like of people standing around the rooms, and like costumes and jerseys and stuff. And then it's like,
yeah, There was a beautiful job. I think it was more of a Star Wars theme. It was, what they'd done in terms of art and creativity and sort of almost making a sculptural looking sci-fi space was fantastic. But I'm the guy that threw it out the awards because it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, that's what I like about this doc is that it's acknowledging that there are both worlds, right? It's acknowledging that there is a scientific way to arrive at the perfect room. And it's also acknowledging that we don't live in a perfect world, and that we have clients to serve, people with money who may want to see giant busts of Spider-Man on the side of their wall and football jerseys and stuff.
Oh, of course. That wasn't why. It's just that they hadn't brought any performance design to it. You can absolutely have both. And you do see rooms that have got both and have got amazing, spectacular kind of effects, and yet have been engineered unbelievably well. And that's going to be a thrilling experience when you walk in and go, wow, look at this cool room. And an equally thrilling experience when you sit down and watch something. And that's what you want, right?
I don't think enough people realise that the room is the biggest component that you have to design to and with. Without a good room, I don't care what speaker cable, projector, processor, amplification you use. If the room isn't right, it's not going to be potentially a great outcome.
Right.
We have to design these rooms. We have to do something with the noise floor in there. A quiet room is so much more important than the amount of horsepower that's feeding the speakers that you might have put in there, for sure. And it's far more technical to get a quiet room than it is to get a loud room.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's easy just to throw in giant speakers, right?
Sure.
I mean, anybody can throw in speakers and an amplifier and make it work. It's not that complicated, but it is more complicated to make it sound good,
Yep.
and to look good and everything else. So there's definitely multiple aspects there, and especially if you're in the normal integrator, what I would consider the normal integrator market, where you're just putting in equipment and you're not really designing the room from scratch, there's not much you can do with that. I mean, it is just throwing stuff in and making it work, but there is proper ways to design around that now with these guidelines.
There's loads of stuff you can do. I mean, level one, it's unlikely we're going to get a kind of a full qualified acoustician in. But for example, harking back to Adam's room that you put in, just moving the subs about, and applying a bit of design there using the Room EQ wizard system, you can have the difference between, oh my God, there's nothing happening at kind of the beat of a kick drum, to, oh, but if we put them here and here, then the bass is actually going to be quite even at these seats, and that's going to sound way better because there's no notes missing. It's just slightly off topic, but I kind of want to stress, I think most integration firms have good intentions. I think they want to do a good job. They want to do the right thing by the customer. It's more a case of the information you had to go and ferret out before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, figuring out what everybody wants, figuring out what the proper design was difficult. I mean, it still is,
And putting it all in one place and making it much, much more easy, much, much more accessible. It helps everyone because, it's no good if the training path is a bit of a secret, right?
Yeah. This market is good at that. So everything we do is secretive.
Yeah.
It's still a little. I'm not going to say this is easy, right? This is still a big lift for somebody who is, like we were talking before. He's installing alarms yesterday, like alarm systems. And, his loudest thing he's heard is the 100 dB siren that he's installed. And then now he's like, well, I've got to install this theater that's 110 dB. And, I've got to what's the difference between that and the siren that I put in, This does make it. I mean, you do need some education about what sound is, how it works, how transient noise, echoes, all that good stuff works. Like how to a little primer on sound diffusion, sound absorption, like making rooms and how the construction about those rooms goes. I was very ignorant into that until we got spec'd to make our first. Like a studio when we did floating floor. Well, we didn't do the floating floors. We kind of did, but not really. And we did floating walls and ceilings. And then it was built over a garage. And I remember sitting in it one day, and like at the end, we're trimming out all the XLR cables and soldering and all that stuff. And we're like, yeah, it's quiet in here, and it's got the mechanicals all done, completely separated with mufflers and stuff from the HVAC system. Super nice room. And somebody comes on and hits the garage door opener, and the whole room goes.
Amazing.
Nobody thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, There's definitely some training resource you can do. I mean, even though I haven't yet, I've kind of gone a roundabout and awkward, tortured route, but everyone should take HAA level 1. You can do it online. It's easy. You can buy it from Cedia. It's straightforward. If you don't know how the dB scale works, if you don't know, basic sound maths and stuff like that, and if you kind of don't have a primer on throwing sound around small rooms, Home Acoustics Alliance is a good place. Cedia have a 2-day training course that will happen, from time to time around the tech summits and, things like the show just gone. Peter teaches the 2-day course on that. It's tremendous. I'm a 30-year veteran. I learned a lot. There's supplementary education. If you read this document, you go, what the hell?
Yeah.
RP22 is a list of questions that you have then got to go and find the answers to for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, at least it's nice that it gives you, but it's nice, like we said, if it gives you those questions up front. So you're not going through 5 different spec white papers and spec sheets to figure out like what we're trying to get to with this particular system. Or like we were talking about, like the Trinoff thing is great. It's got all the math and everything in it. But like that's pretty much by the Trinoff engineers, right? Like it's not really going to apply if I'm using clip speakers or something.
Yeah, I used it a lot, and I did use clip speakers.
But like it's,
and an Anthem amp actually, because it's science, it's proper science, and it's you don't have to be using their processing to apply that into what you're doing. But it's less likely. If you kind of think I'm in the mid-market, my brands are Denon or Anthem or Integra or whatever, you're less likely to go off and read the Trinoff white paper because just human nature, right?
Right.
That's why I like the fact that a lot of that wisdom's been boiled into RP22 because then it's definitely for everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely referenced in there. I mean, I see hints and it's not the same. Yeah, it's very much not the same. But there's definitely hints and everything in there that they referenced that document and pulled knowledge from it.
And Arno from Trinoff was very much a significant contributor to those meetings, especially when it comes to, I suppose, elements around spatial audio and our sense of placing objects convincingly in space.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because all they've done is decades of research about that stuff. So it makes sense that we should use it.
It's a pretty cool change. I mean, when we were doing home theaters, it was like I was on the backside of the 2006, I guess, through 2012, somewhere in there, where we were it was basically, we would go to Cedia or show like it, talk to whoever we could to get whatever discounts we could on whatever projector. And then, and same thing for speakers. Well, we kind of had our like go-to speakers. They weren't bad. They were like, I guess Sonance speakers that we used all the time.
Yep.
THX certified speakers they had. And then, we would pop in whatever amplifier fit the budget or whatever we were trying to do, like processing unit or separates or whatever. So not a terrible job. You did learn a lot about the construction process during that point, because I had no idea, what went into making theater or what went into making sure that a projector would line up with the screen. There's all these like little things, little gotchas.
I think what you've just described there, Seth, I think is 97% of the cinema guys that are out there. They're unfortunately doing it the wrong way round.
Yeah.
They've got a bill of materials and then they're going to go and put it in a room.
Yeah, absolutely.
What RP22's doing is spinning that round a lot. Right, we've got a room. Let's design the room. We're doing it to this level. This is what volume I need, whether it be how quiet it is or how loud the loudspeaker is. And then we find the right kit to hit those specs. And it teaches us how do I get 105 dB at this seat from my left speaker?
And how do I get it with a convincingly even timbral response at this seat and that seat, which leads us neatly into the next thing.
Is that how you pronounce it? I thought it was timbre.
If you like. Tom says, what do you say, Tom?
Timber!
Because he's just a wood basher from Stoke. That's all he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Knowing that word and reading that for, I don't know, 20, 30 years or whatever, like it still trips me up. Every time I come out,
I think if you're a Frenchman, it's Tombre, but we're not. So
there we go. Yeah.
And this gets interesting because there's more recommended practices to come. I mean, this is fun stuff. Like if we're building stud walls, right, we don't have to go and investigate the timber because we can just use CLS, right? Canadian Lumber Standard.
Are we talking about which one are we talking about?
No, I'm talking about the importance of standards-based design, right? And I always think about it as about just stud work. I go down to the builders merchants when I have to do this sort of stuff. And it's like, oh, right, I need some 4x2, right? Is it CLS? In other words, it's going to be yay strong. It's going to be yay free from defects. I can build a wall with that without really worrying. I might visually inspect it to make sure I don't get a wonky bit.
Right.
But that stuff's been tested by independent people so that I don't have to do any math or any worrying about it. I can just build the bloody wall, right?
Right.
Or if I need a drill bit, it's made according to DIN standards, which stands for Deutsche. I don't know.
Close enough.
You can look it up, right? Which means that if I kind of drill a hole in a wall a certain size, I'm going to get a round hole and it's not going to break for the material it's designed for. Well, audio is much more complicated than that. So instead of saying, right, I need this much strength and I need this much free from defects, it's a 100+ page document. But suddenly we can codify and say, I'm going to get this much emotional response in my customer's soul, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely does bridge the idea of like the technical specs with the artistic specs. Like that's like there's two sides, there's two pulls to this, and you can have all the technical specs in the world. Like TJ was saying, you can pump as much energy as you want into a room, but if it doesn't sound right, it's not going to feel right.
But here's the thing: that science has been done right by Dr. Floyd.
Yeah, it's all figured out.
He's been sitting people in a room and working out what people like since the 80s and 90s, and we like even response. We like a smooth, well-performing audio without any stupid lumps and bumps in it. That's got nice, predictable reflections. This is all settled science, if you like, and then John, that used to be an alarm engineer, comes in and goes, oh, but I prefer these speakers because I prefer them because they're my friends. And it's like, that's not the same. That's just your gut feel against studies. That's not the same. I believe in the scientific method. Call me weird.
I have a background in mixing and there's a whole process in that. I mean, between going in and engineering a song, EQing out different frequencies to let vocals punch through and all the stuff that you have to do to record in the very limited spectrum that we can hear in. It's way more limited than you think. And then to have that reproduced on the medium that we have, there's all sorts of tricks to that trade. And one of the final pieces, especially when mixing, is when they go into finalize for whatever medium they're putting it on. It used to be for CDs, and now I'm sure everybody mixes directly for MP3s or M4As or whatever. What do we have that same kind of push in movies, like where and in cinema, where one, I don't know, sound studio may have a different approach to how they may not like they aim for that flat response like that. That's what we're going for in these cinemas. I was like, we're going for a cinema that produces a flat response for everything in there. But I'm sure like there are some times where you get transients and noise and things that come off of like sound effects or songs or whatever that go up and above and beyond what you spec'd it for. Is that something that you have to think about, or is that something that like just once we get the foundation for this, it's good to go?
I mean, it's similar but different. You do. A studio environment that you're mixing in is going to be pretty calibrated. It's going to be pretty even. That said,
although each room has different.
I don't disbelieve it.
Yeah.
But the reasons it's different go like this. Fundamentally, you're aiming for one point in space, which is one person on the mix. And to a point, they might check it from other positions. But really, that central seat is critical in content creation stuff. I don't think it should be or is so in a theatre environment. I think it's someone and their partner, or it's you and the wife and the kids, or it's kind of a whole load of people. So we're trying to get as good and as consistent response as possible in a much wider listening area is thing one. And secondly, I mean, in the studio, you've got things like the Yamaha NS10, right, which are kind of nasty, but they're very analytical in the mid-range. So you can find and fix a problem in a piece of content using those, but you would never use 5 of those or 17 of those in a home theatre because it would just be horrible.
Right.
So it's different, but there's certain shared similarities as well.
Tom, what were you going to say?
Yeah. So I think you're talking about how do we know that our rooms sound correct?
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, if we talked about the stuff going in, like, does anybody go back and look at it and measure it? Like,
Oh yeah. Well, this is we come on to RP32. So
Real pros do.
yeah. So that's the thing, isn't it? So how do we know? So RP22 is a design document. It's what we do to make sure that we've got the right kit doing the right thing that's going to give us the headroom to equalize it post-install, which then moves us down to another RP that we're on at the moment, which is a verification of your design. So RP22 is a design document only.
Okay.
So how do we know that we've hit our brief and hit our expectations of the room and made sure that our mass is correct? Well, we then have to verify it, which is very difficult. So post-calibration, have we left enough headroom in the system, knowing what our speakers do or don't do to EQ them? We say flat, but so commercially, they have something called, quite often in a Dolby room, they have a X curve to follow, and that's what they've got to hit. They've got to match that X curve. We don't have something similar in the residential world because our rooms are so varied and so much smaller and so much more difficult to get the same like a big commercial theatre would be, which is much easier to work in because they're having to deal with less audio issues that we get in the small rooms.
Big rooms, easier. That's easy stuff. Small rooms, harder.
Yeah. Big rooms, modal issues, just throw speakers, throw power. Same thing with lovely,
outdoor mixing. Like I mean, and you listen to an outdoor concert, you maybe nowadays with the line arrays, like they can feed everybody the same level of sound, which is quite amazing. But used to, you'd have to the goal was to rush in and get right in front of that sound booth because you knew that guy was going to get the best mix and the loudest mix for the whole concert, and that was going to be forget standing upstairs in front. That's where the subwoofers are, and the guy just sits there and tweaks those to make everybody sick up there. Right there in front of the sound booth, that's where I'd be. But now line arrays, man, you could be off axis, and it's great.
Yeah. And it's funny. I did I don't know if you guys have ever heard of some software called Smart.
Yeah. I met Sam Burchow many times. We had beers.
So pro audio software, and I did their training. So I was in a room full of pro audio guys. Not one of them knew what a room mode was
because they don't have them.
Yeah,
because they've never had to deal with it.
Yeah, never. Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny. I mean, that's what that whole software suite was set up to do. Was you set the little microphone in, you're like, oh, look at that, it's gone. What happened there? And you tweak something on the EQ, the Ashley EQ, and oh, it's back. There we go. We're good to go.
Yeah. I use it for measuring phase. I think it's absolutely amazing. I don't think there's anything better on the market for it. But we have problems with measuring phase in a small room.
Yeah.
Because the room's so small, because the wave's so big, it becomes very problematic to measure accurately. And the instructor couldn't quite give me the info because they're just not used to dealing in small rooms.
Makes sense.
Open air is easy.
Yeah, I'm still learning my way through the kind of calibration process, mainly from Tom, if we're honest. And there's a whole RP for this. So
no, there isn't.
Oh, you're right. That's just measurement verification.
RP32 is not it's not a calibration document. It is a verification of what you've done.
Okay,
I need to get that out there.
No, that's worthwhile. Cool.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Because the thing is, and I do include me 2 years ago, by the way. There is a general. I worry a lot about AV receivers that have auto calibration because I think it creates a peace of mind that shouldn't be there. Because most people, and this definitely includes past Owen, what they do is they run the microphone and then they run away. I'm done. I'm calibrated. I've seen this on awards entries, ones that didn't get as far, where they go, yeah, we calibrated this system, and they basically say, here's what Anthem or Odyssey or whatever it was did, and you get this wonky line, and here's what it looked like post-calibration, and you get this lovely, smooth, perfect-looking line. It's not true. What's actually happened is the AVR has measured the system once with whatever attendant problems it might have, and then it's suggested a filter curve that might remedy those problems. And that's it. Now, there's two things. Firstly, did you do a good enough job giving that auto-calibration as little to do as possible? And you didn't. On average, out there in most of the UK and in most of the America, you didn't. You just put the speakers in and you ran the mic and you ran. Whereas even things like towing your speakers around 20 degrees or whatever the hell, you could have improved that speaker. Did you mess about with bass so that you actually don't have that huge, great big hole at 80 hertz anymore? No, you didn't. And I know because if you were, I'd be talking to, I'd already know you.
I feel so called out right now.
No, it's fine. It's everyone.
I've been there where and it was too loud to run this stupid thing. Like the noise floor in the room, the receiver was just like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't. I need to make it quieter. And I'm like, I can't make it quieter. Just run.
and I'm not clever or special. I only just figured any of this stuff out because I think Ailett mentioned in passing. It was when I was writing a CPD for Cedia in 2019 about bass. And he went, oh, of course, the first thing you should do is move the subs around. And this got me thinking. And then I bought downloaded for free Room EQ Wizard software and started playing with their room simulator. And suddenly my jobs got better. So anyway, back to it. Auto-calibration is the devil because you can auto-calibrate a problematic room and it's still problematic. But if you'd applied a bit of design, even a few hours worth, it would have been an awful lot better. And you've never then independently checked what's actually happening at the seat. And if you do that, then you can improve and improve and improve again. And this has been mine and Tom's learning journey, I guess. Our jobs have just got a lot better.
Yeah, I've really fallen quite deep into calibration. I think it's like putting a Formula One or an IndyCar together, bolting it up and then going driving without setting the thing up. You have potentially got a very fast motor vehicle there, but if it's not set up correctly, it's going to probably handle very poorly. So if you run the auto EQ, and I use auto EQ systems, don't get me wrong, if you use them and don't verify them, I guarantee the simplest of things, level from left, centre, right, and every other speaker at one position will not be correct. I haven't met and used a single system that gets it right. Not one. Never.
The delays will be off because they always are.
Time alignment is never small enough for it to be good enough, ever. And I think I've used most of them. Even on the very expensive stuff, it doesn't get it 100% right.
Yeah, and Tom has said calibration is hard, but some of these basics are really, really easy. You can just run a sweep to your main listening position and you can go, oh, my center is, 0.2 milliseconds off. Oh, right, okay, I'll just change that.
Yeah.
And then you listen again to some content. You're like, oh, it's all snapped into focus and it's gone all spatial and it's gone all good. So this bit.
Yeah, it's the difference between watching a blurry, like the projector's out of focus, and
100%.
and then, let's just move it a little bit. Oh, it's in focus now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe because I guess we're an audio podcast. I guess we could do that, but like, it's very hard to describe how much of a difference it actually does make when the room is calibrated and put into spec where it should be versus.
Yeah. Well, if your time alignment from your left and your right are out, so we as installers generally go to we want to put those speakers in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not time aligned correctly, you're effectively moving that out of the location that you've installed the speaker. So for every 0.3 of a millisecond, you're moving it 10 centimeters out of its physical position.
Yeah, it's about a millisecond a foot if we're in, freedom units. Yeah.
Yeah, freedom units. So to go to the efforts that we do go to install a speaker or place a speaker, to then not make sure that it's time aligned correctly, you may as well not have gone to that effort.
Just put it anywhere.
But it is. And it's the same with volume. If you've got your left speaker slightly louder than your right speaker, it's not going to image.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle to understand our industry not knowing that.
And the investment here can be tiny. You can get $100 mic from either Mini DSP or Dayton Audio or people like that, and you'll be way ahead of everyone in your state or town or whatever it is.
That's true, yeah.
And a little bit of time on YouTube using how to work it and talk to the me and Toms of the world and that kind of thing. And it's transformative. It's transformatively better quite quickly. Me and Tom actually we've just run one so far, and we've got another one coming up in Bristol in a couple of weeks. Accidentally and out of the podcast, and it's mainly Tom, we've done a little introductory calibration course for our integrator buddies. I don't know when we're going to make it to Florida, but someday.
Swing by, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know. I'll come down.
And it's been brilliant because everyone's keen and everyone seems to want to, do better. And we're just showing them some super simple stuff around things like time alignment, things like looking at what's actually happening to your audio and whether you calibrated it properly and then how to fix that.
I don't think most integrators have seen anything like that. Like, I mean, I could tell you that most installers that I've worked with sure haven't. And I mean, if I was to describe something like SmartSoft or whatever, I keep like SIA Soft, I think used to make that, or maybe they still do. Like that was a really cool tool, and it just it doesn't exist in this industry. Like anything like that I've run across. It's all been like, well, I plug the microphone in, I hit go, it made some weird noises and bleeps and bloops, and now it seems to think everything's cool. And
that's okay, and it has a place. But I always think if someone comes home from, you know, Magnolia, if they're still a thing, or Best Buy or whatever, with a AVR and runs the auto calibration system, well, surely as a pro, you ought to be able to do better than that, yeah?
Sure, yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I think the software that everyone should start on is a different one. It's called Room EQ Wizard. It's either free, which is a great price. I know the guy that wrote it, or it's $100 for the pro license, which lets you do multiple microphones in one go. It's trivially cheap, and it's extremely powerful.
Oh yeah, you've shown this to me.
Yeah.
Times. It's great,
You've got your room simulation to help you do subs, and it will do most things.
It does everything, pretty much. It's I wouldn't go as low down to say it was a starting bit of software. It can be your everything software.
Yeah, it certainly is mine. I mean, how much did Smart set you back, Tom, for the license? Not trivial, right?
He's gritting his teeth together. Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Perpetuals about $1,500.
Okay, so it's
Room EQ Wizard is only $100 freedom units, so not bad.
That's if you want to use multiple mics, and you would only want to use multiple mics to speed up your workflow. It's not needed. You know, a U mic's $100.
True.
There, you're going to be above most of your competition with a $100 mic and a laptop.
And also, you should buy the pro license anyway, because John deserves to be paid.
Exactly. It's only $100.
Yeah.
If you make, as an integrator, you can make $100 easy selling the service, you know, as a tag on to the end. Like
100%. The first calibration you do, even if you did it to an existing theatre by somebody else, you would transform it, and that would be worth quite a few $100, and then you can just pay John and crack on with your life.
Yeah. Would you put a $10,000 projector in without having it professionally calibrated?
Are you talking about here? Me? Yeah.
Like traditionally?
Yeah, there's one sitting right there.
Traditionally, and I'm lucky that I've got such a bad memory and that we're anonymized. But I was judging the CD Awards again this year. One day they'll find me out and kick me off the panel, yeah. But until that day, as soon as they ask, I'm going to keep saying yes. But our technicians have 30 years experience, and so we set this projector up using our taste and judgment and our eye. And it's like, your eye's not that good. And also, how would you know? Yeah. How would you know exactly what they meant by, you know, the sort of slightly whitey pinky of that person's skin that they signed off on in the production suite? You weren't there.
Right.
You've seen it on your TV, but your TV's in bloody, you know, dynamic high contrast mode anyway. How on earth would you know what the director intended for that red, that green, that blue should be? Why didn't you just get a guy to run Calman for you? It's a few $100 and then everything is better.
You're making me laugh because...
And audio's the same.
I'm going to go to audio right now. I met with... It's probably one of my favorite dealers now because these guys are fun. But they have a very large shop or group of shops that they run, and they do the Trinovs, they do everything, right? And one of the things they told me, no matter what the system is that they put in, no matter what it is, the first song that comes out of that system is Miley Cyrus "Party in the USA." that is it. So I was like, oh, that's amazing. You guys, this is amazing. Like, it's the reference. That's what they go for. It sounds great on Miley Cyrus. It's going to sound great on everything else.
My go-to in my theatre when music, I've got a little playlist going on. The first one is Flowers by Miley Cyrus in Atmos.
Yeah.
It's good,
great,
man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's great
vocals.
Yeah. She's, you know, they've put the time and the money and the budget and the performance into that piece of work. It's great.
Yeah.
And then obviously we go a bit more highfalutin and what have you. But yeah, absolutely.
Go Miley. Just leading the way in home theater sound.
Yeah. Tom had an experience following on from a guy, a calibrator who would literally just listen to The Greatest Showman and then change frequencies based on his subjective opinion on how that would be.
Oh, yeah. The number of times I heard that this year at CEDIA, it's still out there.
Yeah,
it's still out there. It's still out there. It's a good demo.
You can't calibrate a projector by eye, and you cannot calibrate a system by ear.
Yeah.
I just think you look at the way that the pro audio world are putting shows on now, and look at what they're doing to set up. Look at how look at L Acoustics. They're probably doing some of the big stuff. You know, I just think we need to be more them.
Yeah.
That's how I see it now. it's. I say this a lot over here in the UK. You know, we are the biggest DIY industry I've ever been part of.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't mean that in a horrible way, but it's very real.
And also the pushback you get from your industry colleagues. You know, we don't need it. You're being pedantic. The
thing is, Owen, we can all go down to our local high street brands. We can all buy it from Amazon or wherever it might be, put it in a room, screw it to a wall, turn it on, hit the auto EQ. How is that any different from engineering an immersive audio experience? To, you know, how do we justify what we do?
Right. I gotta say, like, one of the biggest things, like RP22 kind of highlights it too in our conversations about the what was it, John, the security guy, listening to sirens all day and then installing a theater. Mm-hmm. One of the things that probably does prevent that next step is the profitability of the job. And while RP22 does a pretty good job, I think, recognizing that we live in an imperfect world, and that's why, you know, we have these different levels, but also a number of things that they mention throughout this document are like, acknowledge that not everything is within the designer's control. Like, not everything is. Mm-hmm. You're going to try and install one of these things, and there's a kitchen behind you. You know, that's going to come up, right? And I think, like, the day-to-day business operations of someone who wants to get in, make some money on the job and get out might come into interference with some of these some of the longer tail things, like even calibration. Like,
I don't think that's true as it goes. And I'll tell you for why. It's because you wouldn't do a quite big network without testing some cables. We don't need to test these. Well, I wouldn't anymore.
Would you? Look at TJ.
I would test a couple.
People do it all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think just the day-to-day, like, this is always how we've been.
I got green blinking lights. I'm good.
Yeah.
You don't get paid without a calibration report. If you're doing like a big, commercial operation, you won't get paid without the cable testing. Now, I think that customers come to us and they say more like, I want a great theatre experience in my home. I've got $50,000. I want to make it amazing. It's up to you how to break that down. Now, provided that few hundred, couple thousand, whatever, now, once you know and understand and internalize that designing it better and then calibrating it better is going to make it transformatively excellent, even if you spent a little bit less on kit. So let's say it's a zero-sum game. But the client never said, I want a brand X. They never said, I want you to use a Sony projector. They never said anything, really. They might have a couple of little brand preferences in their initial chat, but so what? They're just trying to make conversation. They want £50,000 worth of excellent. And it's up to you how to make that happen. You just need to do it a bit, learn it a bit, get a bit better. And then you say, this takes me 2 days. I need to charge you. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I think I've got quite a good RP22 is a really good sales tool, and I don't think people understand that enough. So, how do I use it as a sales tool? It's really hard to use as a sales tool in somebody's home, but get them in this room that I'm sat in at the moment, which is my demonstration room, which has had RP22 thrown at it, and it's about to have a bit more RP22 thrown at it at the end of the year. And I'll sit them down in here and say, right, I won't go into the engineering, but I'll flash over it of what's happened here. And I want you to sit down and I want you to experience exactly what I've done in here. No doubt this custom has been to my competitors in the local area and sat in their rooms. And I want their feedback. And I want to say, right, what did you think? I've had a demo this morning. He's been to half a dozen competitors around Middle England. He listened to one demo track, and said, I've heard all I need to hear. You're going to be doing the job. I've not heard that before. Let's talk about the detail.
And I've got one. On page 150 of the document, this is a project me and Tom are co-producing as it goes. Lovely guy, nice sized room, kind of interested. He'd done a bit of research. He was kind of keen. One thing I knew was going to be a 2-tier cinema. Row of seats for him and his missus and maybe one of the kids, and another row for kind of other kids when they're home because they're grown up and what have you, or maybe guests or whatever. And I said, how important is that second row? Is it guests and is it the football, or is it kind of they also need to watch a film and be immersed? He said, it's definitely the second one. I said, right, this is easy. And I just sent him page 150 of the document, which is Appendix E, 2.8, 19 discrete speakers. I'm not that good. I'm looking at it right now. And I said, well, in that case, you're going to need an expensive processor made in France and by one or other make. And you're going to need 19 speakers, because that way we can create a decently spatial result, both for you at the front and for your guests behind you. And they went, cool. That's a shit ton of amps and speakers that I've just sold. So, thanks, Cedia. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. And it's right, and it's right for them in terms of the delivery we were going to experience. I could have used fewer, but not without compromising the spatial effect for my back row. So how cool is that?
Yeah, it's right there. It's written down.
Recommended minimum for 2 rows. That's what the book says. And because I was there on the journey, at least at the end of it, I know that the book isn't lying. So I'm more than happy to use that. But I think that's awesome. Because it's not a zero-sum game for the profitability of the business. Because by following RP22, I've just made that chunk of business quite a lot bigger.
Right.
And better.
Yeah, I mean, any minor step in the direction of this is going to make the system better. And of course, potentially make you more money, either by selling more or selling a better product, right? And even if it is a base system, if you were to do some of the things that they suggest, especially even the front, like for a level 1 system, like if you're doing a basic level 1 system and it sounds great, then you might get a referral out of that and all that. So
completely. But people have friends. That really does happen as well. When you're sitting in a cinema and you kind of go, I've sat in this kind of budget before and it wasn't like this. That keeps happening now. So that happened my first big RP22 room was the one I own, right, in Bristol. And then the second one was kind of down in Weymouth on the south coast. And it's just so good in there. It's like, wow, that wasn't crazy expensive. It's a bit bigger. It's got a few more speakers, but it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm home.
I noticed in the beginning of RP22, it was talking a little, I don't think it went back and touched on it because I think most of it's more about the immersive cinema, but like immersive music, does that play much of a role, or is that much in demand inside of these rooms these days, or is it just mostly focused on cinema?
Huge.
It's funny, isn't it?
Massive.
I don't think a huge amount of people are really aware of it, but it's definitely part of my sort of little get up when I get people here into my demo room. You know that there's Atmos music, don't you? What's that? And then you put some on, and it's like you see the little faces light up, and there's Boom. What's the
Tiesto,
song Boom? And he's literally flying around the room.
So good.
It's an awesome experience. I was on the fence when I first started. Apple Music was, I think, the first to start throwing out Atmos music.
Yeah.
I was really on the fence. I mean, initially when they launched it, it was about 6 dB cooler than the normal music. So, you couldn't get the volume there. But they've sorted that out now. And I love that experience of Atmos music. I think it's great. Have you ever watched Hans Zimmer's Prague music? Not
in any kind of
oh my God,
reference area. I mean, maybe on some headphones I could do it. Does it work on Sonos?
Does anything?
AirPods are about the same, right?
You need to get it's possibly the reference material to test the system on.
I've heard good things about it. Yeah, for sure. I just haven't.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I don't think you'd get the same emotional response listening to that exact same track on 2-channel.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I don't get much demand for it from the end consumer going, oh, we really want to listen to Atmos music in here. But when I get them in my room and when we've played all the obvious stuff, when we've played them Ready Player One, or we've played them Lady Gaga, or we've played them A Bit of a Quiet Place and all this stuff, I just put some music on for a bit and they're like, wow. That's a thing. I'm like, yeah, it does that too.
Funny,
it does that too.
I start with music.
Nice.
Yeah, I start with music now.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. I want to talk about product data because I think at CEDIA just gone, the first draft of RP1. You can't design a predictable room without more product data than nearly all the manufacturers are giving us. If you're familiar with a polar plot, which is just kind of what's happening to the output of this speaker as you go further off axis.
That's been on every single commercial product since the beginning of time. That we don't get at all. We never see. We never even. Yeah.
So L-Acoustics do Resi now. So they obviously give it, and they basically design the domestic systems pretty much the same way as they always have.
Yeah, but it's expected. Like we don't have that in. I've never seen that, rarely ever seen a polar plot inside of a Resi.
Two links. So Ascendo Immersive Audio which is aia-cinema.com. You can link that. And Per Listen, the sort of new make that's got some of the great and the good from some of the other speaker makes. They're big on data.
Okay.
And one of the best sounding rooms at CD just gone was the Ascendo room. One of the other ones was the Trinnov Per Listen room. Big on data, so you can design a predictable response at the seats. You can actually know what's going on rather than just guess. It's an amazing start. And the other sort of interesting standard for us is Spinorama, which I think is CEA 2034 as a standard, which it tells you what's happening in terms of the reflection response. So if your early reflections sound good and smooth and sound much like the direct sound did as well, then your brain can relax because it kind of understands what's going on. Equipped with a polar plot and Spinorama data, you can design a proper room. Without it, you are pissing in the wind, son. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can. I was trying to find these websites. I'm like, he's pulling my leg here. Like some of these names, like is this a spin, like one of those spin classes things with the bicycles? Like what are we talking about?
So I think what this boils down to for us guys doing this professionally is this allows us to a certain level of a high level of degree know what's going to happen in that room when you first turn it on.
Yeah.
Because if you're not designing, if you're not seeing what you're speaking, if you don't know what that speaker can do, A, how do you implement it? Mm-hmm. And B, how the bloody hell do you know what it's going to do when you play that first song or movie through it? So we have got to be able to, people say, oh, well, this is loads of time. RP22 is going to put so much time onto no, I don't think it is. What RP22 is going to do is give you, once you get into it, once you've built your Excel spreadsheet, which is effectively what most guys who are implementing it have probably done.
Yeah.
It's going to give you easy, repeatable results. You know what's going to happen within reason. We can't be 100% sure because acoustics, but it's going to give you a model to work off and get you 98% the way there too. Even at level 1 is a great sounding room.
And also they're a bit bigger in the States, right? So typical room in the UK is probably between 15 and 20 feet long. In the States, it's probably 20 to 25, I guess, because there's just more space, right? But you do the same room an awful lot.
Yeah.
So you kind of, this spec worked in this space. It's very, very similar to within a couple of feet to this one. I know what I'm using because it's, in terms of output and in terms of predictability, it's the same stuff. It's just this time, you're starting from a much, much higher baseline. The other thing is, right now I can think of 3 makes off the top of my head that give good data, but behind the scenes, a lot of guys are working on it. My friends at Monitor Audio said, we're going to wait for RP1 to be published and then we'll start collating data, and we just want to hit this target once in terms of providing the output stuff. So that's a great start. They're a huge make.
RP1 is going to be great for our industry.
100%.
Like you guys just said, data. We, in this domestic industry that we're in, there is no data. Why is there no data? We've never demanded it. We've never asked for it. Unlike the pro world, where it's been just part of
everything.
The ethos.
You don't buy a microphone without looking at a polar plot. You don't buy a speaker without looking at the dispersion path. No, come on. It's not even.
Why don't they want to give it? Because we've never asked for it, and now they're scared that the data that they give us isn't going to be good enough. Well, that's not my problem. Always the case, because the data might show some flaws, but more importantly, it shows us, if we really like that product. You mentioned Sonance. This has got Sonance speakers in this room. I really like them. I've got no data on them. I've got my own data now, but it might have shown me how to use that speaker better.
Right.
Or to give a hypothetical, let's say we designed a speaker, I don't know, in the 1970s, and I don't know, hypothetically made some Donald Fagen records on it, and then for some reason started throwing that into home theatres. And it's like, yeah, but the minute you go 10 degrees off axis, that whole thing falls to shit. I'm going to get you sued. Sorry.
Nobody listens. So we're fine.
There's like 3 people that listen to us.
Sure.
This is great.
But you know where I'm coming from.
Yep.
Because we're designing for 1 listener as opposed to suddenly we're designing for 6. You might need different products, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Maybe go back to the drawing board and redesign it.
Right. I think that is coming, actually. That particular make, some of their new stuff is arranged differently and
interesting
to its benefit.
Yeah. Well, It's so you've mentioned RP32, RP1. Are those the two that are coming down the pipe for?
And 23, which is going to be really interesting, which is video.
Ooh.
Now, video, projectors, HDR, viewing angles, specular highlights, brightness. It's going to get interesting.
It's going to ruin my garage setup here.
Yeah. So RP23 is exactly the same for video. It's a design document on how to best get an image in a room, not just from a projector, but from anything. And it's again, and I'm very guilty because I'm not nearly as much of a video guy as I am an audio guy. But how do you design to best get an image in the room?
Yeah, that's kind of been like one of the things that we tried to do more, I guess, than, I mean, the audio thing felt like it was a given, right? Like you would get the audio lined up, and it turns out when you're doing like production custom work, like you really don't, you get brought in so late, and then the theater is just like a checkbox, like, yeah, I want to do that. Or they sit in a little theater demo.
A status symbol, basically.
Exactly. Exactly. All your neighbors have theaters. The furnishings, I guess, kind of make the difference. Like you can do some sound treatments on the wall to kind of like make it sound a little different. You can put the fabric up on the wall. That's nice stuff.
You don't really have that in the States as much, do you?
Not really.
I've only done a couple of those rooms. It's mostly just been a couple of those rooms.
And it's only because of our friend from Scotland that's become really mainstream in the UK.
Yeah.
You know, one guy, it was there before, but it was always really, really niche. And then Roddy, our friend from Scotland, just went, "Oh, I got this fabric track," and you know, it was just great and easy. And we all suddenly, I didn't know how to use a chop saw before I met Roddy, but it's cool because you can hide your acoustic stuff away.
Yeah. It's tools like that. I'm just surprised it took so long, right?
Right.
It's been wild. Like even this like RP22, RP23, 32.1, like all of these things are guidebooks, are tools along the way, but it's not the final. It's not the final Excel sheet, you know. Like there's got to be something down the road that helps us put all this together a little bit better. So, and as I'm reading through this, you know, I'm like, I know Owen has like a little drawing that he uses that he adjusts an angle on and like gets ballpark figures and stuff pulled out of. I've seen him use that a couple of times, and it's like, yeah, there all of this, all the math and everything are here. All of the ideas and like checkboxes are here. Like there's got to be something down the road that's like an Excel sheet that you pop all this into and say, oh, here you go. Here's how you make the room and where you want to be if you want to be at this level or whatever price point. And then you got to go backfill the products into it. So it's pretty cool stuff.
That's basically what RP22 is you design your room, you get what level you're trying to get to, and then it will say, right, you have speaker A, speaker B, this one's got this sensitivity with this polar plot, this one's this sensitivity. If I use that one, I need 200 watts. If I use this one, I need 400 watts.
Yeah.
And then you build your system but you're building it to your specification. You're not having a 200 watt amplifier with an 89 dB sensitivity and hoping for the best when you get there.
Yeah, but back in the 5.1 days, because, you know, we used to say
those days are behind us.
What?
Not for some of us.
Not for me. Back in the 5.1 days, you know, back when we were doing these theaters, and they weren't too much bigger than that. But the thing I commonly said was like your speaker, your seventh invisible speaker that you can't see, right, is the room, and that's the most important one. As long as you get that right, you can dumb down your speakers. Like you don't have to pay for the most expensive speakers because the ones you do put in are going to perform so much better. I had no idea, you know, there was anything beyond that, like how to execute or anything like that. But it made a lot of sense. If you treat the room, if you make the room have a lower noise floor, you can use less expensive stuff. It's going to sound better than the $100,000 system that you put in, and you have to crank it all the way up, and it still sounds like garbage.
You put $500,000 worth of speakers into a glass house, they'll sound crap.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Simple. And it's why we don't have white cinema rooms, because the image will look crap.
Oh,
You don't?
but well,
Really?
Depends where you are in the country, at least.
I don't.
I did it once in 2007. I was still working in the hi-fi store at this point, and a guy just came to see me, and he wanted a projector, and he wanted a white room, and I said okay, and I put it in for him. I went, oh shit, I'm not doing this again. But you do still see it, and the worst thing is you see it because you know how people are. Some people want to be contrarian. You know, it can be a badge of honor to go,
Yep.
I'm not following the rules, damn your stinking rules, and all this good stuff, you know. And if you're Clint Eastwood in Dirty Harry in 1970, whenever, that's fine, because it's a film and it's a made-up story, right? But if you're going, I'm going to put a projector in a white room because I'm a rebel, oh, amazing. You've just made like this washed out pastel crap on the walls and you think you're clever and you're high-fiving yourself. I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
You just lit your money on fire. Congratulations.
Even though I mostly think my industry colleagues have good intent, there's a couple of instances where I slightly wonder. I'm just like, that's toilet, guys. What are you doing? You know?
Yeah. I remember seeing that before too, where the ceiling was just like a reflection almost. Like I think they used even some kind of like glossy paint on the ceiling, and
lovely. Yeah.
Even though it was dark, it just reflected it back. And I'm looking at the ceiling. It's more distracting than like anything in the whole room. It's like, why did we do this?
You know, I love the Spider-Verse films, right? And partly because it's kind of like bonding with Louis, but partly just because I'm a big kid and I really like them, right? So
yeah.
It's no good when the ceiling is red and blue or, you know, the other color of red for Miles Morales or whatever. But it's like, no, I'll always see that. I don't want that in my life.
Right. Well, cool, guys. Anything else you want to touch on? Or
I think that's quite a lot. You're going to need to cut this down, eh?
No, probably not.
Nope, don't have to. We're still under 2 hours, so we're good to go.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've gone longer.
We'll figure out how to get it into the show somewhere.
No, but I think it's all good because I think there's loads of little quick wins in this stuff. You know, just stuff like pulling your speakers round, just stuff like doing some basic bass calculations. You know, you can make huge strides with little changes, and that should give you the confidence to go a bit further and so on and so on. So yeah, let's just make things better.
Cool. Well, we'll leave it at that. Oh, sorry.
Too late. We're leaving it.
We're leaving it at that. Brilliant, Tom.
I was just going to say, be more pro.
Yeah.
Nice.
Be more pro.
Yeah, give the people their money's worth, you know, what they're actually hiring you for.
You know what? I sleep easy at night because I know I've done the best I possibly can with the information we've all had to us. Mm-hmm. But now we've just got a document that's pulled it all together to show us what to go and search and what's the important bits of it. Because, you know, I fall down rabbit holes all the time.
Yep.
You start to look at propagation loss, and, you know, you can fall down a massive rabbit hole with that. Stick to with an RP22 and you'll do well, for sure.
All right, well, we'll leave it at that. Guys, thanks so much for taking time out of your afternoon to come chat with us. Brilliant. It's hard to line up the time zones, but we did it.
Especially on Friday the 13th. I mean, it was a spooky episode.
Oh, it is as well. I hadn't realised. I've had quite a good day as well.
I wanted to wait till the end just to make sure we didn't jinx anything. So
it's iPhone pre-order day. I mean, come on.
Nah.
Is that what you guys are talking about? No.
Oh,
not this year. I take mine for 2 years.
I couldn't think of anything.
I
honestly,
felt about that.
I was going to ask too, is any of this worth talking about when we have the Apple Vision Pro? I mean, isn't that just replacing home theaters?
Yeah, get rid of the screen. Done.
Just get a headset. I mean, it's only $3,600. I mean,
what happens to you when you take that clammy, muggy thing off your face? You blink and rejoin reality.
Listen,
right? How can you have a glass of wine?
If it's not an RP23, I'm throwing that in the trash. Like, you better have RP. You better put it in there.
I'm not sure we've actually spoke about that in RP23. I hope we haven't.
And I think that they've only been out in the UK for about 5 minutes. You guys had them for longer. But the big thing is, I always think, put a film on, sit there with your partner, sit there with your kid. You know what? I might have a drink, and it's really hard to do with a VR headset on. You might miss, you know.
That's true.
Yeah.
Cameras are off a little bit.
So until they fix that, I'm out, you know.
Yeah.
Version 2, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Directly into the eyeballs or something. Some of the lasers or something, they can just energize the molecules within your eyeballs to make it seem like you're seeing what you're not seeing. It's coming, guys.
Or maybe they just put a kind of a little press to vape. For me, that'd be great. It's not a good habit, but it's better than smoking, right?
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Absolute pleasure.
Lovely. Cheers, guys.
All right, that's our interview with Owen and Tom. I'm not going to say his name. Thanks, TJ. But
Tom.
Great conversation. Thanks, guys, for coming on the show. I really do appreciate being able to sit down and chat with you on was it Friday afternoon? It was our Friday afternoon, their Friday night. So yeah, they were nice enough to take their time out and chat with us from across the pond. All right. We don't have anything in the mailbag this week. Actually, we do. We have a very complicated, what was it? Z-Wave question?
It's a Z-Wave question, but we're going to punt that to Gavin whenever we let him out of the basement. So stay tuned.
Punting.
Maybe it'll come out next week or something. Who knows?
We're definitely punting on that one. I read it and I'm like, nope, I can't answer this.
And we tried ChatGPT, but it gave us a really long answer too. And I was like, And I feel like I probably could answer it, but I think Gavin's just the correct one to answer it. So
I feel like he's done this before, right? Like he has. He knows
because he just upgraded to the long range stick, I believe.
Yeah. All right. So Chris, just hang tight. Gavin's coming back for episode 500. It's going to be a huge episode. We're going to talk all about
just this question.
That's all we'll do.
It. Nothing else.
Very cool. Well, we do have a pick of the week, and this is I found this somewhere, and I wrote close enough. Because it's got one of these. I think this is the exact USB-C, USB-A, and outlet charger that I bought the first go around because it only has one outlet on it, and it's got 3 USB things or 2 USB-As and 1 USB-C, and someone has figured out that the USB-C plugs conveniently right into. I guess that's probably the neutral port of the outlet. Which is kind of saying something because that's a tamper-resistant outlet. It shouldn't do that. I'm looking at it.
Like, hey, jam anything in hard enough, it's going to go in, You're
going to break something, but, it'll work. Well, it's funny. You're getting a little more 30 watts out of that one, though, I think.
You were close, but so far away still.
Keep trying. It's crazy. Like, I the new iPhones and everything came out, right? And, of course, I'm on this plan that with Apple where I just basically pay each month or whatever, and they give me the phone. And I don't know, it works out. It's cheaper than going through AT&T or anything. So it's way better of a plan, and you get Apple Plus or
Apple Care.
Apple Care for free, not free. I mean, I'm sure they charge you for it, but
oh yeah,
it's
built in though. It's all in one. You don't have to worry about it.
Right. If I wanted to buy the phone and purchase, I'm sure it would be cheaper, but not. We were looking at AT&T's plan. I think somebody did the math on it. It was for the $1,100 phone, it was $2,700 you would end up paying. They totally rip you off at AT&T. So don't do that. If you can get on this plan.
How is that happening though? Because we get
I do not know. That's
crazy because we give a 0% interest or 0% rate through them for the phone. You just pay whatever the phone is broken down monthly
for AT&T.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go look up the story. It was an insane amount of money for
because that's who we have, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's who we have too, and it at least the phone works because the service doesn't. So
yeah,
there you go. But yeah, with all the USB-C stuff coming out, I'm like, I need some headphones too, I guess, because the headphones now have USB-C, like the cases for the AirPods or whatever. They have it now. I'm like, I should probably upgrade. It's probably time, right? I think it is.
Gotta get you some nice anchor cables as well.
Ooh, yeah.
I've been buying them in fun colors. I usually just buy the plain black and gray ones, whatever. The braided ones.
Yeah, those are nice.
I'm buying these nice blue and green ones recently. It's improved my life.
Anchor is always hitting it out of the park. Are these anchors?
Yeah, of course. That's all I buy.
Yeah, they're hitting it out of the park with all of their battery chargeable things. I have this battery charger thing that has a screen on it now that tells you.
Isn't that amazing?
It's beautiful.
When I first got it, I was like, this is the silliest thing ever. I don't need a screen on it, but it's so nice to be able to tell how much is left on it and how fast it's charging your devices.
Right. And when you plug it in, it tells you how long it's going to be until it's charged. And it's just a little OLED screen that they popped on the thing. It doesn't probably take any energy to run. And it just lights up and tells you, hey,
it's fantastic.
We're charging this phone for you. There you go. Those are pretty. Look at those pretty blue. Oh, there's purple ones too.
Isn't that nice?
I need some pink ones to match my Pink Pony Club iPhone though.
I bought some green ones and some blue ones.
Yeah. All good stuff. Good job, Anchor. Anchor, you're also the pick of the week.
Just not your security cameras.
And not this outlet thing, because I'm pretty sure that outlet was their outlet. Whoops. And if you have any feedback, questions, picks of the weeks, comments, great ideas for show, give us a shout out. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, project updates. Yay! It's the best time of the year. Gavin, GPT, what have you been up to?
I have a few projects going on this week. I finally got my new 3D printer. I was really jealous of the Prusa MK4S that got released shortly after I bought my new printer, so I bought this one as well. I haven't told Rose yet, but I think she'll be fine with it once she gets some shelves or something out of it. That's all I have for this week. I'm just really enjoying listening to these episodes Seth has released while I've been traveling.
I can't believe Gavin GPT is buying more printers.
Wow, Gavin.
Just ridiculous.
I told you not to do that.
That did sound like something Gavin would say.
It prompted itself. I didn't even type that in. It just it came up with it by itself. So the AI already knows Gavin from his vast internet history.
Gavin as a service is going to be amazing, guys. We're telling you. Like as soon as we can get it all hooked up, yeah, like it's going to be amazing. So, all right, this Ubiquiti camera thing that's going on at CEDIA, they announced that they were going to do ONVIF support. I think it hit what do they call it? Early access, which is their beta. And I installed it and then quickly regretted ever doing that. The beta is very buggy, but I don't know. Like I did get one of my cameras in and it didn't work, but it did get the picture, but only like a frame every, 5 minutes or so. It seemed like I was really struggling. Did you have any better success?
Yeah, so I got my cameras added as well. It doesn't seem to be very good. Like it just, it's not like whenever I go to see it, it doesn't refresh. And so it's like 5 hours ago or something.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. It wasn't refreshing.
Yeah, so that part kind of sucks. And it, honestly, like the whole benefit of it, I guess, is that I can see it all in one spot, but I don't get any of the motion detection or anything because it doesn't support that yet. And so it's one of those things that like it's cool, but it's not really useful in my situation because I want to replace Blue Iris and I need motion detection to do that. So it is kind of cool. It's there. It's working. One of my biggest pet peeves right now is that I have a couple cameras that I have not added into Protect, and like every time I open Protect, it asks me if I want to add those cameras, and I say no, and then the next time I open Protect, it asks me again, do you want to add these cameras? And I'm like, no, I don't want to add these cameras, Ubiquiti. So that's my biggest pet peeve at the moment. Other than that, it is working, albeit a little janky. So
you could probably go into the settings there and turn off the Discover third-party cameras. I wonder if that would also turn off your cameras, because that's like the discovery part.
Oh yeah, maybe that'll do that.
And if that, I don't know, maybe it'll turn off the other features. But it is a beta. They've got work to do. I think this is the second beta. Yeah, and the first one was like sending people's NVRs into reboot loops, so it would crash and reboot over and over again. So they rushed this one out, but clearly they've got a ways to go, and there's probably a lot of use cases or like different resolutions or specific resolutions that the NVR might be looking for that you have to go and set on your camera so it matches up. I tried to match like what some of the specs on the cameras that I have are. So it would be like, it's kind of the same, but I don't know what compression they're using or, anything like that. So I don't know. It will be interesting once they get this all up and going. I'm kind of upset with myself for doing this early access thing though, because you need the iOS app is not connecting anymore. You have to have the early access iOS app.
Wait, for real?
So I can't see my cameras. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I couldn't see my cameras. Like it just wouldn't load, or it would load and then crash, or whatever.
I don't know if that's true because I don't think I have the early access UniFi Protect app.
No, I don't either. Like I have the regular one, but I can't see my cameras. Huh. It won't connect to the thing.
Oh, I don't have that problem at least.
Well, lucky me. Yeah, it just like reconnects over and over and over again, and then it's like, hey, this NVR is not available. Like we're just going to give up, and it defaults back to something else. So,
well, Ubiquiti is known for their stellar software performance. So, they'll fix it.
Yeah, that's why I've switched back to the. You can't. I guess you have to like switch back, but it doesn't like automatically downgrade. So I'm gonna have to wait for I don't know, maybe some bug fixes will come along and I'll upgrade to another early access and then quickly switch it back to
like, oopsies.
Did not mean to do this. I am so sorry. But yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on it, because what I don't want to have happen is for them to release this, version 5 or whatever it's supposed to be, and I'm stuck on it forever. I can't go back. Like I'm on version 6 and like, oh, it's just as buggy. My app keeps crashing and I need to be on the early access or whatever. Anyway, cameras. Why can't anyone get them right?
Yeah, they are difficult. They're like printers for some reason.
Yeah, cameras and printers. Exactly. I was in the middle of updating or finally getting to the last piece of equipment that needed to go in for this lightning strike that happened at an old client of mine. And I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, 6 or 7 months ago, we put in an AV Pro Max 24, right? And popped it in. It's one of the very few switches that you can get, the matrix switches that you can get that have the ability to do 24 zones. And I need 24 zones for this house. Like, it's a big house. There's only like, I don't know, 9 or 10 sources, but still there's 20 some odd zones. I think I was able to combine a few of them. They've over time deleted rooms. And so there was actually more than 20 zones at one point in time, or 24 zones. And it's since come down, but I really, needed all 24 zones in this particular case. And I had everything kind of like ready to go. And I went to order this AV Pro Max 24. They were on back order for a while. I'm like, so it's been like 3 weeks. I've been waiting for this thing to come in. It finally comes in. And TJ, I pop out, all of the, 24 RCA cables out of this thing, right? Like pulling them all out. Like I had to label them all too, because you can't pull them out; they all look the same. And then you just screwed yourself. Yeah. So have to label them. Taking my time, carefully doing this. Figure it's going to take me an hour, and then I go over to the box and pull the new one out. It's the same black box. I slide it in the 2 RU space it's supposed to go in. And I put in the 4 rack screws, and I walk around to the back, and it's a completely different layout. All the wires have changed on me. There is not only a Max 24A, there's a Max 24B and a Max 24C. And I guess they've revised some of their equipment, and bad on me for not looking at it before I got there, but
yeah, that stinks.
It said on the outside of the box Max 24. But I don't know. I guess this would work. Either way work. Like, what sucked about it is that I use the Planet Waves cables on jobs. It's like 10 years ago. That's what I used. And so like these were all kind of like cut to length at some point for where they needed to go. So then you're all like having to go back and pull slack out of cables and plug in things, because not only did the inputs, if you see the inputs, like the first set of inputs would have started at input 3, which is way over on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't say it's
on the
definitely
outputs,
a different layout too, especially when you're working on a tight space like that.
Yeah. You see the outputs. I mean, now the input number 1, as far as analog audio is concerned, is 9. It's way over. So yeah, different layout. It definitely came out to hurt, but I still like the Switch. And what they did, I guess, on the C, there's a tiny little baby screen on the front. I'll try and send a picture of that too. And what one of my complaints was with this thing was that it didn't have any lights or anything on the front of it. So the client would call and be like, "Hey, something's going on." And I'm like, is the switch on? And they're like, "I don't know." Like, there's no lights. I can't tell. So now there's like a little screen with a button that says info, and you press the info button and it lights up and tells you what it is. And which is how I discovered it had a new screen, and it's a Max 24-C. So it's right there in the model number that the others one didn't have. So anyway, that was a fun learning experience today. And what should have been an hour job did not take an hour. Took much longer to do.
That was an important lesson on why you always leave slack in your wire somewhere.
Yeah, well, this is like the third one of these, and the second or third set of amplifiers at this house for reasons.
Yeah, well, technology changes. You never know.
Yeah,
it breaks.
Eventually, I just rewire the whole thing, and I don't know.
Yeah.
There'd be plenty of slack, but
it's somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
You'll be retired soon, Seth.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think they're moving too. So
like,
this is a lightning strike. It's an insurance job. Like, they're building a new house. Somebody else is taking that one. somebody will inherit these problems that I won't have to worry about anymore. So there we go. And that'd be perfect. Anyway, that's all I got for projects. You're working at the Pink Pony Club? What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't have a lot going on. I'm leaving for Missouri this weekend, so I'm kind of just like getting the house cleaned up and stuff. But yeah, we were working on a project this week. I got contacted to install a security system for somebody that involved 6 cameras. And they waited till 2 or 3 weeks before like construction was supposed to be finished to contact us.
It's a good time.
So yeah, we had to go in this week to cut some holes in places, and luckily the drywallers were on site, so they literally fixed the holes as we went. It was great. But it was funny. We're working in the building, and they're painting the outside pink, and somebody from the city comes in and said, "Hey, do you know who's in charge?" I was like, "No, why?" And he goes, "Oh, they're painting the building pink, and they're not allowed to do that." And he's like, "I want to tell somebody before it's too late."
You posted a picture. It's clearly too late. Like, they were done.
Oh, yeah. Like, the whole building was basically pink. I think they were painting, like, 1 or 2 other portions, but I was like, you might as well just let them finish, because they're pretty much done anyway, dude. So, yeah, we'll see how long that lasts, but it's in, like, some downtown part where I'm assuming they have some kind of building codes or something that you're not allowed to just paint whatever you want. But, yeah, we'll find out what happens.
You got the CDA HOA to worry about.
Yeah.
Now. That is a pink building. I mean, it's a nice pink. It's a light
very pink. Well, yeah, I don't think it's like too harsh or anything. So I think they actually did a good job. That was actually an old bar. And it like always smelled awful when I went in there. So this is definitely a big improvement. It was a bar called Old Bag of Nails. I think it's like an Irish pub or something like that. And it just like is one of the places that smelled like it's been there for like 100 years, even though it hasn't. So this is definitely much better.
Yeah, it'll be an improvement, I guess.
Yeah.
So there we go. And they'll have a new security system to go. So
that's right.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's all I have going on this week. We're going to Missouri, driving there on Saturday. So when I check in next week, Seth, I'll be somewhere else.
And you'll have a home assistant job under your belt, right? A professional.
That's right.
Yeah, professional
first one. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we're going to check out Springfield, Missouri. It's not the Springfield you've been hearing about in the news recently. It's a different Springfield. A little further away. I'm close to that Springfield that you hear about in the news.
What do they eat?
But we're not going there. We're going to a different one.
It's a completely different one.
Completely different one.
Well, who knows what
10-hour drive. Yeah. 10-hour drive to Springfield.
I cannot. That's a long drive. It's a long drive. It's not that bad.
Well, and it's like, it was one of those things that like we were going to fly originally, but I don't like flights in America are a racket. So if you're listening from a different country, you probably have better access to like flights than we do. It was $900 for both of us to fly to Missouri. And like, it was a layover, no bags, and non-refundable unless we paid like an additional $200 per ticket. So I was like, well, I'm not going to spend like $1,500 to fly to Missouri.
Wow. Yeah, that's a bit much.
So that's why we decided just to drive. I was like, I'll just put that money into new tires and stuff for the car, and we'll just drive.
Yeah, instead. Exactly.
Because I'm a Midwesterner. We drive everywhere. You know what? 12 hours, 14 hours. Who cares? We got time. Let's drive.
Florida doesn't seem like a big state, but it's a long state. And it's like to get from the bottom where I live all the way up to the top and leave. Like if you wanted to leave the state, it takes. I don't know, 6 or 7 hours. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe not that much. It's a long time.
I'm pretty sure it's like 6 hours from Orlando to like Tallahassee.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a long haul. And if you're trying to go like down I-10 and get out of the state towards Mississippi, Alabama, and go west, that's a long drive. It's just, and the way they made the roads in Florida, they're not fun. Like there's nothing on the left and right side of you. It's just like trees and stuff.
Oh, no, it's not good.
And there's a stretch of 75 that has weird signs on it about like stopping at some truck stop, but don't stop at the truck stop. It's probably
Buc-ee's is not
probably not going to be as good as it looks on the signs. So
it's funny. Springfield, Missouri has like 100,000 people, but they have a Buc-ee's there too.
Oh, look at that!
I mean, what the heck?
Don't stop there.
I'm not. I don't plan on it.
Go to the Citgo across the street. You'll be fine.
I just need Sheets or Wawa in my life.
Yeah. There you go. All right. We want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge, every one of them gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day. And there was some good discussions in here. There was Intel discussions. That's going on. Jimmy found a funny ad that Eufy misspelled smarter, which is
Smatter.
Yeah.
No, we just found out they're from Boston.
Oh,
Boston.
that could be that too. Yeah.
That was a terrible Boston accent. I'm sorry, but people from Boston.
All right. All sorts of stuff going in there this last week. TJ, your images of Integrator's phone app is so on par. Like that.
Yeah, that was from the Pink Building. Like I'm like shoving my phone in these holes and taking videos to see what's in the hole and stuff. And I go to look at my uploads later on in the day, and I'm like, man, there's just like 50 videos of me looking inside walls.
Some people have pictures of their kids, but there was a time in my life where it was like all dusty components, the back of the components,
oh yeah.
So you could see, you have your camera, you take a picture, and you're like, all right, well, there's the HDMI cable. Let me see if I can squeeze that in there. Yeah. That's awful. Well, but
I do have some other news too. I forgot. We adopted a dog, Seth.
What?
Yeah, we've been fostering dogs for the past like several years.
You forgot because you've been taking all these dusty videos.
all this Pink Building. No, we've been fostering dogs for like 3 or 4 years now. We finally adopted one, so we'll post a picture of him. Right now, his name is Capone. We're thinking about changing his name. We just can't figure out a name for him yet.
All right. Well, if you have any suggestions for TJ's name for his new puppy, let us know. Feedback at HomeTech.fm. Or, there's probably a donation or a support amount if HomeTech.fm support. Like, you can put whatever you want in there. It doesn't have to be $1. It doesn't have to be $5. You can put whatever you want in there. And TJ will name it something. I'm sure there's a dollar amount.
Look, if you donate $20, I will heavily consider naming the dog whatever you would say. Heavily consider.
There you go. Well, next week, Gavin will be back. 500 episomes? That's kind of crazy to think about.
That's crazy.
Seems like a lot.
How long have we been on it for? I don't even know.
I have to go back and look. Ask Gavin GPT. He'll probably tell you.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, it should be fun. But that's going to wrap up this week. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Till next time.